Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Padma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Banda Mui Sabadana Mate Mate Banda Mui Sabadana Mate Sabadana Mate Jara Prasade Bhai Baba Tobiya Jai Prasade Bhai Tobiya Jai Jara Prasade Bhai Baba Tobiya Jai Prasade Bhai Baba Tobiya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoy Nya Hoy Te Prapti Hoy Nya Hoy Te Krishna Prapti Anya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Bhagya Jite Te Gauriya Kya Gauriya Guru Mukha Padma Bhagya Jite Te Gauriya Kya Arana Gauriya Maneya Sa Gauriya Masa Arana Gauriya Maneya Sa Shri Guru Charane Radhe Ese Uttama Gati Uttama Gati Shri Guru Charane Radhe Ese Uttama Gati Radhe Uttama-gati Ye Prasade Purisa Vasa Sade Puri Sava Sa Sade Puri Sava Sa Sade Puri Sava Sa Jagudana Dila Jai Jande Jande Prabhu Jai Jagudana Dila Jai Jande Prabhu Jagudana Dila Jai Jande Jande Prabhu Jai Jande Prabhu Jai Began the Bhagavata Jande Bhagavata began the Bhagavata Prema Bhakti Jayate Abhijabhanasa Jati Prema Bhakti Jayate Abhijabhanasa Jati Jayate Abhijabhanasa Jati Vedyajanaratarita 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 Sindhu Andamajandala Bandhu Shri Guru Garuna Sindhu Andamajanala Bandhu Logana Logera Jivana Logana Logera Jivana Prabhu Goro Doya Deya Mare Pada Joya Goro Doya Deya Mare Prabhu Goro Doya Deya Mare Pada Joya Vega Sisi Bhuvana Sisi Bhuvana Sila Prabhupada Jita Pavana Guru Garuna Sindhu Andamajanala Bandhu Guru Garuna Sindhu Andamajanala Bandhu Logana Jivana Logana Jivana Ha Prabhu Goro Doya Deya Mare Pada Joya Prabhu Goro Doya Deya Mare Pada Joya Babu Baba Dida Bhavana Baba Dida Bhavana Sila Babu Baba Dida Bhavana Baba Dida Bhavana Jaya Babu Bada Jaya Babu Bada Babu Bada Jaya Babu Bada Babu Bara, Babu Bara, Babu Bara, Jai Babu Bara, Jai Jai Babu Bara, Babu Bara, Babu Bara, Jai Babu Bara, Babu Bara. Babuga, 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 Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namune Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Bhaskacharisitarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Shri Krishna Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Jai Satchinandana Jai Satchinandana Jai Satchinandana Jai Satchinandana Jai Satchinandana Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hare Nandana Gaura Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesvaya Namah, Kesvaya Yadavaya Madhavaya Kesvaya Namah, Kesvaya Namah. Gopa Govinda Ramji Madhusudan, Govinda Ramji Madhusudan, Gopa Govinda Ramji Madhusudan, Govinda Ramji Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Modana Mohan, Hari Gopinath Modana Mohan, Giridhari Gopinath Modana Mohan, Hari Gopinath. Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya, Hare Hare Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita Hare Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita Hare Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Hare Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Yadvaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Yadvaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Salatan Bhatta Raguna Salatan Bhatta Raguna Salatan Bhatta Raguna Salatan Sita Gopala Bhatta Das Raguna Hare Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Hare Namah Jayadvaya Hare Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Hare Namah Jayadvaya Namah Yadvaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radha Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jai Krishna Balaram Jai Jai Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Down, Stupad, Paramahansa, Parabhajakacharya, Shishi, Maharaj, Drawing Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa, Parabhajakacharya, Shishi, Maharaj, Drawing Grace, Srila Bhakti, Saranta Saraswati Thakur, Ki Jai, Nanta Kota Vaishnavini, Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, Ki Jai, Crimsico, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasari, Gaur, Bhaktivinoda, Ki Jai. Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Sambhita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gopamanandi. All glory is a symbol of devotees. All glory is a symbol of devotees. All glory is a symbol of devotees. All glory is Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. So this is reading from Prabhupada Nectar. This is a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote in 1976. The preaching in Poland is the first consideration. Vrindavan is being managed somehow. Now the most important work is that the side in the communist countries. If you can do something there, it is more than if you come here. Our business is to glorify Krishna as Lord of Vrindavan and to popularize Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Hare Krishna movement. I was a resident of Vrindavan, but at the age of 70, I tried to preach Krishna consciousness a little bit, and now this institution has come out. So I think it is more profitable to preach about the master of Vrindavan, Krishna, outside of Vrindavan. A devotee of Krishna can create Vrindavan everywhere by preaching the glories of Krishna. There are many Sahajiyas who imitate Rupa Goswami not to go out of Vrindavan, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always remained outside of Vrindavan for preaching purposes, although he is the master of Vrindavan personally. I have no objection to your coming to Vrindavan, but as you have accepted the sannyas order, it is more important to preach about Vrindavan rather than come to Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So I want to welcome Prahlad Nrsimha Prabhu. He's visiting here all the way from Sri Mayapur Dham. And this evening in the temple room, right after Gaur Artik, there will be a memorial service for Manorupa Devi Dasi, his wife, who passed away recently, and all the devotees are invited to attend. Also, Manjula is here, all the way from Australia. Hare Krishna. And she's leaving tomorrow, and Pashupati, her mom, is going with her for a month. So travel safe and have a safe trip there and back. Sunday, there is going to be a play in the temple room by the Krishna Boys Club. If you might probably know, Leela Padma Prabhu runs a Krishna Boys Club for many years, every week, over at the Alachua Learning Center, so that the devotee children who attend that school can also have Krishna conscious training. And of course, it's open to children from this school too. Sometimes it's an aftercare type program. But anyway, she's a fantastic drama teacher, and so we've had many wonderful plays because of her efforts, and we'll have one this Sunday, so be sure to catch that. Reminder that the Radharani Club sets up one of their famous bake sales for Nrsimha Chaturdasi, which is right around the corner. It's a week from this Saturday. So we're reminding the devotees to please think now about what you're going to make and prepare for the Radharani Club bake sale. There's no problem selling it. It's getting enough items here to sell. And we have a full day's program for Nrsimha Chaturdashi. That's a Saturday, a week from this Saturday, and it's in the newsletter and in the website. You can check it out there. Okay, these are the devotees who assisted their spiritual master addressing the deities today. Shishi Radha Sham Sundar Nitai Priya Prabhu, Chota Radha Sham Sundar Guru Prasad Prabhu, Shri Krishna Balaram Panchali Prabhu, Chota Krishna Balaram, Prema Manjari Prabhu, Shishi Gaurnitai, Devaki Prabhu, Chota Gaurnitai Karaneshwari Prabhu, and the Gurus and Lord Nrsingadev Krishna Kripa Moya Prabhu. Akuti Prabhu is giving class today.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Balava Giri Vadadari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabala Giri Vadadari Yashoda Nana Bhajana Ranjana Yashoda Nana Bhajana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabalava Giri Vadadari Yashoda Nana Vajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nana Bhajana Ranjana Jamunatira Banachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Parabhajakacharya Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Bhakti-Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namaskar Srila Hare Thakur Ki Jai. Krishna Guru Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the Son of devotees. All glories to the Son of devotees. All glories to the Son of devotees. Glory to Shri Guru. The story about the deliverance of King Nriga. Yesterday we read the summary and a little bit about how he was grabbed up by Krishna with his left hand. And now we're going to hear a little bit more about how all that happened. So we have a few verses up to, I think, 17. So I think we start with 7, and we'll just read them through to the last one. So we can all say this together. Okay. Papracha vidvan apitan nitanam janeshu vikya payitum mukundaha kastvam mahabhaga varenya rupo devotamam tvam ganayami nunam. Translation. Lord Krishna understood the situation, but to inform people in general, he inquired as follows. Who are you, O greatly fortunate one? Seeing your excellent form, I think you must surely be an exalted demigod. Text 8. Dasham va katamena karmana samprapitosya atat arhasu bhadra atmanam akyahi vivitsatanam no yanmanyase nakshamam atravaktum. By what past activity were you brought to this condition? It seems you did not deserve such a fate, O good soul. We are eager to know about you, so please inform us about yourself, if, that is, you think this is the proper time and place to tell us. Text 9. Shri Shukuvacha iti smaraja samprishta shena anta murtina Madhavam pranipapyaha kiritenarkavarchasa. Translation. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus questioned by Krishna, whose forms are unlimited, the king, his helmet as dazzling as the sun, bowed down to Lord Madhava and replied as follows. Text 10. Mriga uvacha mrigo nama narendroham Ikshvaku tanayak prabho dhanishvakyayamaneshu yadite karnam ashprisham. King Nriga said, I am a king known as Nriga, the son of Ikshvaku. Perhaps, Lord, you have heard of me when lists of charitable men were recited. The acharyas point out here that although a tentative expression is used, perhaps you have heard of me, the implication is that there is no doubt. Text 11. Kim nu te vididham nata sarvabhutatma shakshinaha kalinavya hatadrisho yakshetapi tavagnaya. Translation. What could possibly be unknown to you, O Master? With vision undisturbed by time, you witness the minds of all living beings. Nevertheless, on your order, I shall speak. Purport. Since the Lord knows everything, there is no need to inform him about anything. Still, to fulfill the Lord's purpose, King Nriga will speak. Text 12. Yavat yakshikata bhumer, yavatyo divitarakaha, yavatyo varshadarascha, tavatir adadam smagaha. Translation. I have gave in charity as many cows as there are grains of sand on the earth, stars in the heaven, or drops in a rain shower. Purport. The idea here is that the king gave innumerable cows in charity. Text 13. Payashvinis taruni shila rupa gunapapana kapila hema shringi nyayarchita rupya kurak sabatsya dukulamala bharana dadhavaham. Young, brown, milk-laden cows who were well-behaved, beautiful, and endowed with good qualities, who were all acquired honestly, and who had gilded horns, silver-plated hooves, and decorations of fine ornamental cloths and garlands. Such were the cows, along with their calves, that I gave in charity. Text 14 through 15. Swalankritebhyo gunashilavhabhyaha siddhat kutumbebhya vratibhaya tapakshuta brahma vadhanya sabhya padam yuyubhyo dvijapunage bhabhyaha gobu hiranya yatanashva hastina kanya sadashistila rupya shavya vashamshi ratnani parichadan ratam ishtam chavyagnais charitam saputram. Translation. I first honored the Brahmins who were recipients of my charity by decorating them with fine ornaments. Those most exalted Brahmins whose families were in need were young and possessed of excellent character and qualities. They were dedicated to truth, famous for their austerity, vastly learned in the Vedic scriptures, and saintly in their behavior. I gave them cows, land, gold, and houses, all along with horses, elephants, and marriageable girls with maidservants, as well as sesame, silver, fine beds, clothing, jewels, furniture, and chariots. In addition, I performed Vedic sacrifices and executed various pious welfare activities. 16, you can repeat. Kasyachid dvijamukyasya bhrashta ghor mamagodhane sampritya vidusha sacha maya datta dvijataye kasyachid dvijamukhasya bhrashtagor mamagodane samprikta vidusha sacha maya datta dvijataye. Vaishnavis? Kashachit, of a certain Dvija, Brahmana, Mukhayasya, first class, Brashta, lost, go, a cow, mama, my, Godane, in the herd, Samprita, becoming mixed, Avidusha, who was unaware, Sa, she, Cha, and Maya, by me, Data, given, Dvijataye, to another Brahmana. Translation purport. Once a cow belonging to a certain first-class Brahmana wandered away and entered my herd. Unaware of this, I gave that cow in charity to a different Brahmana. Purport. Sridhar Swami explains that the term Dvija Mukhya, first-class Brahmana, here indicates a Brahmin who has stopped accepting charity and would thus refuse to accept even 100,000 cows in exchange for the cow that had been improperly given away. Very interesting pastime, and I must admit I have a tendency to have my heart go out to this poor King Nriga. Seems like things are being a little over judgmental here, a little bit unfair. There's some other pastimes too that one might think of as being a little bit hard to understand, a little bit on the unfair side. Comes to mind, of course, the pastime of Junior Haridas. Lord Chaitanya banished him for seemingly very, slight little discrepancy of going by himself to collect some rice from a Mataji. And it seemed like Lord Chaitanya was very heavy, to the point where he committed suicide. But actually, it was a significant incident. Lord Chaitanya, of course, thought that. And if you look at the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think I can remember a couple pages of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's explanation of the whole matter, because it was such an intense occurrence that happened. Another thing that came to mind that would seem a little unfair was a story about Manduka Muni. And this was a long time ago, that within his hermitage, some thieves had taken shelter, and then the police constables came and arrested the thieves and arrested Manduka Muni also. And they took him back, and they were going to stab him with lances and kill the Muni. And then the king heard about this and said, "Whoa, wait a minute, you can't do this to this Muni." And he begged some pardon from the Muni, and at that time he was taken to Yamaraj. And he said, "Yamaraj, why is this what's going on here?" And he says, "Well, when you were very young, you took a piece of straw and you stabbed a little ant," which makes us all kind of squirm in our clothes here, of what we've done to ants before. But he said, and Manduk Muni said, this is too much. He says, and he went, "I curse you. I curse you to become a Sudra for 100 years. And so that is how Yamaraj became Vidura, born as a Sudra. So this is also, I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of heavy. It makes me a little worried of the things that I've done that definitely are not going to be overlooked in my past, and what might be my plight. So this is something, one of the many lessons that we can get out of this short chapter, but very significant chapter. It's also described that in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says that if a devotee of mine makes some even abominable action, that I will consider it not sinful, that he's okay. And so we think, well, phew, all right, Krishna, that's a little bit helpful. But also it's described that one who gets very, very advanced, not the conditioned soul that makes mistakes, in that case where Krishna will forgive a few times, but by accident. But even the pure devotee, he doesn't even have to worry about that. It says that they only have to follow the rules and regulations. They're so transcendental. So even though we might get some little handicap there by Krishna overlooking us, our conditioned state, it's better to be safe than sorry. So best to follow all the rules and play the game right. So it's described that in some of these cases that Krishna, it's hard to understand why this is seem not such an equal doings. But it's because Krishna, he doesn't like to pamper his devotees. He likes to grab onto their hand. Now he's got them. They've decided to surrender. Okay, finally. So he grabs on their hand and doesn't want to pamper. He doesn't want to let go. So sometimes he squeezes a little hard, right? So make sure that he doesn't leave his grip. And so that little squeeze might seem a little bit uncomfortable at times. It might seem a little bit too tight. But that's because Krishna really cares for his devotee. Those that have the intentions of becoming, again, in his service. So we have to understand it in that way. But even though we all try to be good doobies, like this King Nriga, doing everything proper, everything right, possibly beyond the mark, still we make mistakes, and we're never perfect. So we might try our very hardest, but ultimately we can see that Krishna is in control of the whole situation. Krishna is kind of tough, like we were describing that tough love of grabbing hold and squeezing hard. But the main thing that we have to understand and aspire for is to try to please Krishna, try to satisfy his desire. That's the topmost interest of someone who's trying to become a devotee again. And it can be a little high mark to meet. Krishna has rules, so many rules, many of them that don't go along with our desires. It might be that we have to do things that we don't really like to do. Just like Arjuna. How would you like to have to kill your mother and father, your aunt, your relatives? Can you imagine? The spiritual master said, kill your brother and sister. Can you imagine having to do that, Manvati? No. It would be hard. It would be hard to accept that. Even King Yudhisthira had a hard time, a very hard time, when he was told on the battlefield, I want you to say, Ashwatthama is dead. And he said, but I have a reputation, you know. I never tell a lie. I can't do this. I can't go against my better nature, my pure nature. And so he couldn't do that. And because of that, I can't remember what happened, but something else happened later on in his life. Anybody remember what happened? That he got a result for not doing that? Yeah, his chair went down. I thought there was something later on when he left the planet. Something happened. I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, so there was a reaction, even for King Yudhisthira, who was such a pious person. So sometimes it goes against our grain to have to fulfill the Lord's desires. Even, sometimes you have to make bitter melon because Krishna likes it and you don't like it. I have that problem. That's a small little level. But Krishna requests certain things. He comes at different times. Just like when he came as Lord Buddha, he had a specific desire. He wanted everyone to stop being violent, stop killing animals, stop this. So that's why he came. He had other purposes when he came. Even as he sent Jesus Christ, he wanted everyone to stop doing very sinful things. And he spoke very simply to those people just to stop them doing that. And then he has also has come as many different incarnations. And it requested, Lord Chaitanya, he came, and requested, please, just chant Hare Krishna. Give up everything else. Give up all this caste system. And just get off the mental platform. Just chant Hare Krishna. So at different times, these desires are expressed. And of course, we have the spiritual master to express them and to give us that insight of what the Supreme Lord really wants. But unfortunately now, many people speculate on what God likes. Even the Buddhists. My sister says she's a so-called Buddhist. And she says, oh, well, to be a Buddhist, you just have to be good to everybody. Be nice to everybody. And now some of the Christians, you might have heard of these big mega churches. I was speaking to some students in Tampa the other day, and they were saying that there is such a thing in Tampa. They have a big, huge stadium, have these big mega churches, and the priest gets up there and says, it's perfect. God wants you to be rich. He wants you to be economically, flourishing. And he wants you to just be happy. You do no wrong. Whatever you're doing, it's okay. You're good. You're all good. This is what they're thinking God desires. And plus, it costs a lot of money to rent those places, so I'm sure they're hoping they get the money to pay for it. And then there's even the Buddhists, some Christians say that you have to be very renounced. You have to be a hermit in a hermitage to please Krishna. So the speculation goes on and on. I remember being at an interfaith and hearing some of the different opinions of what God is desiring for their particular faith. And of course, there's those so-called religionists that say that if other religions don't agree with what I think God wants, then kill all those other religions, everybody else who doesn't agree. So this speculation can go too far, and it really doesn't get you anywhere except for in a very difficult situation later on. Fortunately, we have the Vedic literature. We can take shelter of the Vedas, which are very explicitly describe what to do, what satisfies Krishna. And of course, we have his representative, Srila Prabhupada, who told us exactly what Krishna wants. And of course, the previous acharyas are examples of that. So King Nirga, he thought he was doing everything that he thought that God wanted. He was charitable. Here's such a wonderful description of what he did, how he gave so many first-class cows. I can't imagine these cows that he's describing with the gold and the silver and the perfect calf next to him. And he just gave thousands and thousands of them. And he gave in charity. And he was very charitable to all the citizens. He tried to make everyone happy. And he knew if he made everyone happy, he'd get more cooperation. So he was thinking in this way that I do no wrong, that I've got a clean slate. Everything's just perfectly all right. And then comes this incident. So his idea of himself being in the mode of goodness, thinking that he's going to attain, the position that he's looking for of a heavenly state. This also was a mentality of Ravana. He was thinking, I'm just going to build a staircase. That's all I have to do, and I'll get to the heavenly platform. So we might have our plans and think that we are doing perfectly well, but only the Mahatma, the one who is completely transcendental, not just good in the mode of goodness, but transcendental, thinking only of the welfare of the Supreme Lord, he is truly on that liberated platform. He's self-satisfied. He's beyond the mode of all modes. So this kind of is a very high calling to be at that Mahatma level, and to think that everything I should be doing, everything I do all day long is just for Krishna is to me inconceivable. We're still, tinged with the conditioning. But it's something to strive for, and it's going to take a lot of time and practice to reach that state. Because it goes against what we've heard from our parents. I mean, my parents were like, you're the most important thing. You and your extended family are the most important thing. Everything should be centered around us. And my parents were very much into that. And considered that everyone else was of a different class, that only we mattered. So this helped. It definitely goes against our advancing in Krishna consciousness to have that mentality, and it's going to take a while to get rid of that. I don't know how many lifetimes to figure out that we're not number one, that we're actually at the very end of the list. But we have a very nice process here of learning, practicing devotional service, trying to come to that pure platform. But we are definitely on that mixed platform, picking and choosy about what service we do. I find that, I prefer some things rather in hope that someone doesn't ask me to do that one because I really don't like it. And it's really hard to give all that money, all that big money to the temple, to Krishna, put it in the box there that you've worked hard for. We're still thinking of that result. I know Mukhya has a very difficult time asking for money to pay the bills because no one sees the results really. So yes, it's difficult. We're still holding back, a little for Krishna, a little for me, a little Krishna, for a little for me. But the more we take advantage of giving to Krishna more and more, especially the most difficult things that we have to give up, then we actually receive the greatest satisfaction, a spiritual satisfaction. It might be a nice example is that yard sale the other day. Everyone was bringing all their anarthas, all the things that they really didn't need, but we still think we need them. I was going through the shed trying to get rid of some things, and Lakshmani goes, well, what about that? That's been sitting here for how many years from the ashram, and you're still attached to that stupid thing, but I might use it. You've been saying that for 10 years. Throw it in the van. And then we came home with nothing. And I tell you, giving up all those things that I thought I was going to use, I knew I was going to use, it was such a relief, right? Come home with nothing. So in the same way, how wonderful it is if we could come to that state of giving, emptying out our whole anartha chest within ourselves, and only left with the soul there, not surrounded by all these other things. So this Sharanagati, this is the goal that we should all be looking for. Simply, our mind, word, and deed, everything dedicated to the Supreme Lord. But King Nriga was a little short of that. Krishna knew that he wasn't completely on that, unattached, unadulterated love platform. So he therefore was squeezing his hand a little bit and realizing that, okay, you're going to learn a little bit more this lifetime. And so he threw him down in the well where he had some time. He had quite a bit of time to think about these different shortcomings that he had. Luckily, we have the spiritual master that is telling us a lot, as much as he had time to, of what we should and shouldn't do in this lifetime to make that perfection also for ourselves, so that we don't end up in a well as a big fat lizard and not very easily to get out. So, but there's many people that don't want to hear this knowledge. They close their ears and they think, best I don't know. Ignorance is better. That I don't know what might happen. Even the little details of karma and things like that. They think that very, wishfully thinking that karma is only good. I'm only going to go up in the cycle. I'm not going to go down. I just have to keep being good, and I'm fine. So many people don't want to hear these things, and another reason is that they don't think they're going to get caught for all the things. But here we can see that even the little fine details, they get sieved up there in Yamaloka, and so we can't get away with anything. So King Nriga, he was in this mode of goodness, doing so much wonderful things, as we hear, giving hundreds and thousands of cows, and he even offered these Brahmins, I'll do anything, He thought he could pay himself out of this. I'll give you as many cows as you want. You can have these cows. Just let me off the hook. But that didn't happen. So, but he was in the mode of goodness. And I was listening to a lecture the other day, and Srila Prabhupada was saying that actually we should admit that we're all in the mode of ignorance, but we should strive to be in the mode of goodness. And so we encourage those when we meet them. Irmala was talking about how difficult it is to preach to these people in the mode of goodness the other night. And I find that's true also. You go to these places and they're all, thinking that actually that they're like God themselves. They're as good as God. I do everything so wonderfully for everybody. I'm like, I'm so beneficial. And then you try to think, well, then you have to figure out how to tell them that there is a personality that is actually God and that you're supposed to worship him. And it's really hard for them to take that step up, to transcend thinking that their qualities, that mode of goodness is perfection. But actually, there's a step up that actually we're just simply a servant of that most supreme person. But it is, we have to encourage them to be in the mode of goodness, and hopefully with enough prasadam and enough association with devotees, they'll see that they do have a ways to go, that they actually have to accept that complete service, and not just service like King Nriga. He was a servant of Krishna. He really loved Krishna. He wanted to meet Krishna, but he didn't have that pure love for Krishna, which is such a difficult, elevated position. But the mode of goodness is definitely, we like to look for the mode of goodness because there's some hope. Even just we can stop and talk to them. At least they have they're going slow enough that you can slow them down to talk to them. Mostly everyone's in the mode of passion. I remember being on the streets in Los Angeles, going out there 10 hours a day, Vishnu Maharaj chanting like crazy, and we're trying to jump up and down for 10 hours. And just to get one of them to stop, literally they would mow you down, or throw water on top of you from the 10th story and things like that. Just to get them to slow down, it's so difficult. And even on the campus, I don't have time, I got to go to school, I got to do this, I got to do that. So most of us are in this mode of that they don't have time. But maybe Krishna will give them a lot of time, and they'll find themselves in a well and have a lot of time next lifetime, or maybe for many, many lifetimes. But hopefully we can get to them and give them an opportunity to ask questions and to receive the proper answers. One girl called me yesterday that from the Tampa program. They had a program Monday night. The Mayapuris went there, and they chanted. And she says, I think it's time for my spiritual life. I was so enlivened by hearing this. The sounds were so wonderful. And so somehow or other she got my number. It ended up that I had talked to her when I was in Tampa. She couldn't come to the program, and the man gave me the phone and said, just talk to this girl. She's so interested. And so I left a book for her to get. And she was inspired. She says that, I think it's time. I think it's time for me to start my search. And that's the most important thing, that we're able to give everyone an opportunity to hear the holy name and to begin their spiritual search, and to find that they don't have to come back again, that they can learn all the lessons by the grace of Srila Prabhupada in this lifetime, finish up their business, and get out of here. So we have to realize that there's many instructions in here, and it'll go on in the chapter. One of the instructions is that you can't please everybody all the time. King Nriga found that out, that no matter what he did, he couldn't please everybody, although he tried. And another one is that one should not be offensive or commit any aparadhs to the brahmanas. Although these brahmanas, I'm curious about these brahmanas, they seem to be lacking in the forgiveness quality. He tried everything, but they said, nope, no way, I'm not going to forgive you. So I guess it's not quite Kali Yuga, but even in Dwapara Yuga, they were lacking in some of the qualities. So, but Krishna will go on to, in many, many verses explaining that don't mess with brahmanas. Do not steal from a brahmana, whatever you do. Otherwise, you don't just become a lizard. Actually, King Nigga got off pretty easy. He was a lizard. But it says later on that you become some insect in the feces and bad. And it gets worse and worse. So don't be in debt to a Brahmin. Don't steal from a Brahmin. Whatever you do, if you don't know whose it is, just consider it's a Brahmin's. Don't touch it, because otherwise you could end up in someone's septic tank next lifetime. So these Brahmanas, they seem like they weren't quite up to par, but another lesson is that it's not that we should just, try to become a Brahmana, but we should become a Vaishnava. And Urmila was describing these 26 qualities of the Vaishnava. So many qualities we have to get together in this lifetime. Little by little, hopefully, we'll accumulate some idea of what these qualities are and try to work hard at them. So these are some of the lessons that we can learn along with King Nriga, and try to aspire to be a pure devotee some lifetime, to please Krishna with whatever we have. And in this lifetime, whatever we have, whatever position we're in, try to be very intent on it so that Krishna will overlook all these offenses that we are committing, even unaware, that even like Rupa Goswami is described that for some reason in his puja he was not feeling like he was, really at the deepest point. And it ended up that he found out that, unaware that he had committed, an offense to one poor devotee that was kind of deformed. And I guess he had been walking by Rupa Goswami when Rupa Goswami was in meditation. And in this meditation, there was a pastime, a leela going on, Radha and Krishna, and he began to laugh about it. It was some frolicking pastime, Radha Krishna, and he was chuckling. And at that time, the person went by, and the person who was deformed thought, "Oh, this sage is laughing at me because I look so funny," and so unaware of this offense, and so, but he was held responsible for that, and so luckily he found out about it, was able to rectify it. So, how many offenses, how many ants do I every day when they bite me, and mosquitoes and everything else, and in the yard and in the garden, and even breathing, so many things that we are committing offenses and slighting the rules that we're responsible for. So we definitely need to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, which is Lord Chaitanya's grace. One way we can be relieved, but we should keep our intentions very strong by hearing the instructions of Srila Prabhupada to try to satisfy Krishna in this lifetime somehow or other. Try to satisfy our spiritual master by just satisfying Prabhupada's desire of reaching all the conditioned souls and giving them an opportunity to engage in this wonderful process of Krishna consciousness. So anyone have any things they'd like to say? Oh, I see Regatnika Prabhu.
Prabhu, you said that King Nigga had a lot of time to think while he was in the well. Now, is that exceptional, or in other words, if one were to take animal body and the process of karma in itself, a karma machine, what is the end result of the karma machine? Meaning,
it's pretty customized, I think, so it'd be hard to answer that. Our karma is very customized. Although there's generalizations in the fifth canto, like I was saying, if someone does this to a brahmana, that happens. But I think, things can be pretty.
Does it even
detailed.
bring one to a point of more thoughtfulness? I mean, suffering.
I guess if you're lucky.
Suffering.
I mean,
lifetime
King
after-
Nigga, it was pretty advanced.
So
I mean,
that's
to
why
have-
he was able to reflect? Are you saying he
I would think it had a lot to do with it. He was very qualified. I mean, this little discrepancy happened. There's other, like the elephant and things like that. He was very pious. He was born as, a great pious family. He knew verses and all those kind of things. So, yeah, the better off you are, and you do make a little mistake, the better off you'll be able to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And Prabhupada said that if we don't make it, we might be born in a Brahmin family and automatically have a better situation. So, yeah, the more we do in this lifetime, that transcendental bank account, we want to fill it up. Less work to do. Yes, Prabhu.
You were mentioning how it seems a little unfair. You mentioned how it seems a little unfair.
Well, to me, my heart goes out to
But I was thinking about that. I mean, the outcome was that the Brahmin King Nigga got Krishna's touch.
Yeah.
So even though the Brahmins, were unsatisfied, but it seems like he was not a worm in stool. He got Krishna.
Right.
So that's the one point. The other is, it's interesting you mentioned that the Brahmin had a vow that he wouldn't accept anything in charity. So maybe that's why he was not forgiving.
Yeah, I don't understand this vow. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, yeah.
At some point, a Brahmin doesn't take charity. I know that you're supposed to give in charity. At some point, they say, no thanks. I mean, Prabhupada said, give me $1 million today and I'll go spend it, and tomorrow I'll take more. So he was more transcendental even, So like I say, don't just become a Brahmin, become a Vaishnava.
I think the story with Manduka Muni, what came out of that later on was a child is considered innocent until 14 years. So not anything, you could, whatever acts you do, until 14 you're considered innocent, and after that you can be tried as an adult. And the other point with Maharaj Yudhishthira, I know a lot of commentators were trying to say that because he broke morality, that's why he sunk, his chariot sunk to the ground. He broke the law of truthfulness. But as we know, Srila Prabhupada says, it was because he disobeyed Krishna,
Right.
not the other way around.
That's what we know. Mukunda Prabhu.
Yeah, actually, commentators have also said that the Brahmins, they were influenced to actually help King Nirva because he was practicing Kama Misra Bhakti. And that by their activities, they were showing that it will take very long to obtain your goal by this method, and it's not perfectly executed. So for this reason, because there was no reason for them to become angry over such a thing, but to help King Nirva actually. And then when he was in the well, Krishna extended his left hand. Left hand is a sanket, like a hint, that you should take shelter of Bhakti Devi Hushimati Radhika. The actual left hand was commented on by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami in Govardhan Leela. That Krishna lifted Govardhan with his left hand to give sanket, what is the glory of Radhika. So his extending his left hand, because other than that, acharyas have no need to mention which hand he helped him with, that you got touched by him at all would be great. But that he used his left hand was a symptom. You need to take shelter of Bhakti Devi, pure Bhakti. And so he had to taste the fruit of going back to his heavenly abode. But after that, I think in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada mentions, he did obtain Vaikuntha, because he worshipped Krishna.
This is all the arrangement of Krishna, that the Brahmins got upset. Okay, Jai Shri Baba Ki Jai.